The studio lights were blinding, but John Kennedy stood tall, the warmth of his Southern charm wrapped tight around him like armor. The moment his polished boots stepped onto the stage, there was already tension in the air, thick, electric, and coiled like a spring about to snap. This wasn't just another televised panel. This was a showdown disguised as a political discussion. And everyone in the room could feel it. Across from him sat Hillary Clinton, composed, sharp-eyed, and every bit the veteran of 1,000 debates. Something was different. This wasn't behind closed doors. This was live, unscripted. Millions were watching. The topic: government, transparency, and institutional accountability. The host barely got through the introductions before sparks began to fly. I think the American people deserve answers. Kennedy said calmly, leaning slightly forward, his voice even but firm. We can't keep sweeping things under the rug simply because it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. Hillary smiled tightly. And I think we deserve representatives who don't grandstand for applause, but understand how governance actually works, Senator. The word senator was dipped in ice. The host tried to steer the conversation back to the talking points, but it was already too late. Hillary, with decades of political fire behind her, leaned forward and, in a moment that stunned even her aides, pointed toward Kennedy. We don't need conspiracy theories. If you're not going to contribute responsibly, Senator, perhaps you should leave this discussion. There was a split second of silence. The crowd gasped. Producers scrambled in the background. But Kennedy didn't move. He didn't blink. Then 46 seconds passed. 46 seconds of the most uncomfortable, loaded silence television had ever seen. Kennedy's eyes remained fixed on her, not with hostility, but with something deeper: calm defiance, disappointment, resolve. Finally, he spoke. With all due respect, Secretary Clinton, he said slowly, his voice steady as granite. You don't get to silence people just because they challenge the comfort of power. The truth is not disrespectful, it's necessary. The audience hushed, leaning in. Clinton shifted in her seat. Millions of Americans feel forgotten, he continued. They're tired of polished answers and political spin. They want someone who will ask questions, even the uncomfortable ones. And if speaking up makes you uncomfortable, then maybe the question isn't whether I should be here, but whether you should still be answering to the people. The words hung in the air like a hammer dropped from heaven. Even the host was stunned, speechless. Clinton's lips pressed into a line. For once, she had no retort. The moment, caught on 10 different camera angles, spread across the internet like wildfire. Kennedy freezes Hillary on live TV. Headlines screamed. Twitter exploded. Clips went viral. And the phrase, 46 seconds of truth, became a trending hashtag for weeks. But what happened after the cameras stopped rolling is what truly mattered. Backstage. As the crew disassembled the set and the echo of applause faded, Kennedy stood alone, quietly packing his notes into a leather folder. A young intern approached him, no older than 20, with tears in her eyes. My father lost everything in the opioid crisis, she whispered. No one in Washington cared. But when you spoke up out there, you spoke for him. For all of us. Thank you. Kennedy, ever the gentleman, simply nodded and placed a hand on her shoulder. That's why I'm here, he said. The encounter didn't just ignite headlines. It sparked something more meaningful. Town halls across the country began filling with people who had stopped believing their voices mattered. Questions were asked that hadn't been asked in years. Committees reopened investigations. Whispers of transparency turned into roars. And Hillary. She never publicly commented on the exchange again. But insiders say the silence was intentional, because even she knew something had shifted. The old way of doing politics had cracked. The moment wasn't about humiliation or revenge. It wasn't about party lines or sound bites. It was about courage. Kennedy didn't storm out. He didn't shout. He stood his ground with the quiet dignity of someone who knew the weight of his words. In an age of noise, it was his calm that thundered. The next time Kennedy stepped on stage, it wasn't as a guest. It was as the keynote speaker of a national movement centered on truth, accountability, and compassion in leadership. And that young intern. She went on to become a civil rights lawyer fueled by one moment of truth that broke through the noise and reminded her that one voice, if brave enough, could make the whole room listen. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not leave, it's stand.